And then what happened to you when you started speaking out?
So I lost a job, yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I didn't really want to work for this company anyway, but I was doing a favour for a company that was working on the future combat aircraft systems, so Tempest.
Was it after you'd left the RAF?
Yeah, so I'd left the RAF and this thing kicked off about 2020, 2021. And I was chatting to guys who was telling me, look, this is really happening. This is because guys in the military don't want this either. They don't want to be working next to people that don't want to be there. Because that's the other byproduct of this, of forcing people into the military, which is hard. You live away from your family. You know, people get killed around you quite a bit. You know what I mean? Not even in conflict, but in training, a lot of people just die.
Does that happen?
Yeah. People crash jets all the time. Yeah, people die. You know, but I'm in jet world, aren't I? So, but training accidents, you know, people leave. It is quite brutal. You know, affairs, all these kind of things, alcoholism. I mean, I went through that, right? So all these things, it's quite a brutal existence. And you can't just change job when you want to. You're kind of in there, you're trying to get your pension if you can, if you stay a certain length of time. So you want to know people who want to be there. You want to work next to people that want to be there. And of course, the issue of trying to force people in because they got the correct skin color or they're a woman or something, if they don't want to be there, then they get in and they realize how bad it is. You get this rapid turnover. You end up like the police force, where something like 90% of the police force has less than 5 years service or something. It's a huge turnover. I think 80% of Dorset police recently said they wouldn't advise someone else to join. I mean, that Dorset police are having issues with the police officer who was removed, wasn't he, for arresting that guy with a knife. So there's issues down there anyway.
Yeah.
I think
that was right. He arrested the guy with and he said, "Stop moving,
some shouty
bitch."
words or something.
He called him a bitch.
Is that the word he used? I never knew that.
It was something like "stop moving," and then he said "bitch,"
and that was it.
Stop moving like a bitch.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, it was something like that. Stop moving like a bitch. While he was grappling with this guy with a knife, and then he lost his job.
Well, the guy probably was moving like a bitch, wasn't he? I mean, let's be honest. Stop moving like a bitch. I mean, don't move like a bitch. Won't tell him. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, we should just bring back more police and more police violence with these knife offenders, shouldn't we? And it would stop probably overnight, wouldn't it? But it
was a massive knife as well. It was like one of those two-sided ones. I don't know what you call them, but
zombie things, aren't they?
Oh my God. Okay. I mean, I'm glad you had brave people like him to stop them.
Well, you don't anymore. That's the thing.
This is scary.
You don't anymore, yeah.
So what happens when your company, what do they say to you? Just email you or something?
Oh, when I was working, yeah. So I was working for an engineering company down in Bristol, North Bristol, in fact. And I was being put into other companies to help them workflow-wise and everything and stuff like this. It was all a bit kind of generic. What does anyone really do in these companies, really? You know, it's taxpayer money. And I was like, my wife was like, well, it's good money. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not feeling that I'm doing anything tangible. I still don't feel this project's ever going to go anywhere. And of course, it's a massive. And I understand why they pay people to do these jobs, because of course, then they go and spend it on TVs and it goes back to the economy. I understand it. I'm just taxpayers' money. So I was in this building one day and I got a call and they just said, get out of the building because security is going to come and get you. So I got out, went back to the main company. I was working over the other side of the country. Got back then, they said, yeah, you've just lost your security clearance. It's been paused. I was working at quite a high level of security clearance, which you have to on that project. And I'd released videos questioning the Air Force about diversity, Chief of Air Staff, Ministry of Defence. And I was just saying, look, this is fundamentally wrong. Now, what the ministry does, because it's faceless, it's full of civil servants, bureaucrats, you know, spineless men, spineless women. There's no name on the bottom of the emails. So when they actually wrote to me and said, we paused your security clearance, there's no name. There's no one taking responsibility for that. And so what happened is I sat there for 3 months without work. And, you know, it's not easy when you come out of the military to find work really anyway, to be fair, unless you're, you know, going to work for someone that's quite good at killing people, you know, in a very expeditious manner. Like a lot of my guys went to Saudi and stuff and China. I didn't want to do that stuff. But there's lots of money out there.
And that's where we're losing people to then.
Well, it's because they pay very well. Yeah. Yeah. So, but then I didn't do that. And so I sat there with the wife saying, when are you going to get a job? And I said, but they're going to give me the job back. And eventually I wrote to them and I actually threatened the ministry with something the ministry was doing, which I knew was happening, which was aligned with this sort of diversity thing. And I said, look, I'm about to do a massive video on that. And I got the clearance back within, I think it was 3 hours.
Really? So you blackmailed?
I'm not blackmailing anyone, you know, allegedly. You can say what you want on this big podcast of yours. No, it wasn't a blackmail. It's just saying, look, I know what's happening within the ministry. I know what the civil service is doing. And I know what you're pushing for within these core teeth arms, basically. And I know what damage you're doing to the country. And I'm going to hammer this with YouTube videos.
And this is the Ministry of Defence?
Absolutely, Ministry of Defence. It was a cabinet office. It was a cabinet office that does this. It came down from the cabinet office through Ben Wallace, through the ministry, into the directorate of the armed services. And that's why Mike Wigston and the other service chiefs push this diversity so much, because it's directed from above. And it's probably directed from somewhere else as well, Globalist or whatever it is. And I don't go down conspiracy theories or nothing. I literally look at something, I see it and I talk about it. I'm not interested in people going, it must be this weird, whatever, they're making up stuff. I don't know about that stuff.
So you got your job back?
Well, I did. I got the clearance back, and then I had to decide whether I want to go back to work there again. But why would you work knowing that you're under that umbrella now of like oppression? You know what I mean? I'm being oppressed. I'm not that guy. But you know what I mean? Anytime. So now they're controlling my speech. So now they're controlling what I say on YouTube. So I can't say anything on YouTube now.
I suppose to an extent, if you're working for the Ministry of Defence, there are certain things
you have to be
safety.
careful, yeah.
But this is about a diversity quota thing.
It wasn't anything to do with that. And I would never talk to it about the project. I won't talk to you about the project. I mean, I'm not talking about anyone under anything I worked under a security clearance, because it's a security clearance.
Yeah.
You know, it's a standard we uphold in the UK. So no, absolutely not. But no, what I was talking about was the failure of the leadership within the Royal Air Force to provide equal opportunities for all people, irrespective of their colour or their gender, yeah. I'll say sex, actually. I'm not a gender guy.
I just think they're synonyms. It's the same word.
Yeah, I think it is now. I think people tried to leverage that a little bit, didn't they? Common purpose type thing.
Because it's two different. They couldn't understand that there's two different words that mean the same thing.
I know, it's crazy. So they say, well, gender, you can be whatever gender you want. You can be fluid.
Gender meant personality,
yeah,
I think.
It's probably something like that.
Which is really odd, but fine.